right. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hey, thanks for joining once again. Early morning, but just still in the zone and want to continue what I was working on last week, and so I felt like doing a live stream, basically. I hope you're doing fine as well. Say hi in chat if you want to hang out here, and really appreciate it. We're gonna do some coding, basically. That's it. Let me set this up here, and So this is what we're working on today. Um, this issue here: fallback for platforms that don't support non-canonical mode. Let me show you something that the Tempest console shows out of the box here, and it's these interactive components, right? So I did a whole video about this, talked a bit about it on stream as well. So it's these components that you can, have some real-time interaction with. They're really nice. I really like them. However, the problem here is that they aren't supported on all platforms. I'm using two command line tools in order to get this to work. And that's this. Let me actually open terminal here. This is the class that handles all of that. It's tput to gather information about the terminal width and height. That's the first one. And then there's stti. I think both of these are installed by default on all Unix operating systems. I don't think they are installed on Windows. And, also when running tests, we can't really rely on these interactive components because as far as I know, and this is something I still need to figure out, but as far as I know, there is no way to, like once you switch to this interactive mode, this non-canonical mode, you need to be able to send keystrokes to the terminal, right? And the way it's implemented here is it's basically an infinite while loop that keeps waiting until there's input. So you can't really run that while loop and send keystrokes from your test cases. So you basically end up waiting forever because, there's nothing our code can do. I think there might be a solution here with fibers. The problem is that, I'm pretty sure it can be solved with fibers. But it means that this infinite while loop, let me actually show you like the render, it's called component, render console component. This while loop is, no, this is wrong. I renamed it. What did I call it? Already forgot. Oh yeah, it's called renderer now. Interactive component renderer, this class here. Here's the while loop. So we're just, as soon as we like start our interactive component, we just wait until something happens. And whenever we press a key, we re-render the frame. And that's the way it works. So what we could do with fibers, and this is something I won't be able to do on stream because it will be a mess. You could use fibers here to basically do something to stop this while loop for a second and do something else. Like, for example, write something to the input buffer, then read it from this place and resume over here. I'm pretty sure that will work. But the problem is that it would mean refactoring this code just for tests. And this is something I'm still debating whether it's worth it or not. I think that the more ideal situation, like instead of adding code in like production code, that's only there for testing purposes, instead of doing that, it might be more interesting to, have a way to do all this terminal interaction from the outside, something like Selenium for web testing, right? Like very high level integration tests, but for console applications. I tweeted about it a couple weeks ago. Apparently there are some solutions. I still have to look into them. So this is what I'm still debating here on whether I need to add more code so that I can just handle it from within PHP unit basically and have it all in the same test suite, or figure out a way to do integration tests on console commands. There is something to say for both of these options. So I'm still debating that, and that also means that these dynamic components, they aren't tested yet, which kind of sucks. But whether I test them or not, I'll have to actually implement a fallback for platforms that don't have Tput and STTI available. Basically, that's the thing I'm working on right now. First step, right? That would mean I could also use them in testing, which would actually make it so that I have a couple of skipped tests right now, because they rely on interactive components, console components, I should say, and there is no fallback that tests can actually work with. So this is something that really needs to be fixed. Okay. Well, by the way, I just thought of this. The components themselves, they are actually they are testable. So search component here. This is the dynamic version, the one you're seeing on in the terminal right now. So you can just instantiate a component and start manually sending input and checking for output, right? Re-rendering the component, which is basically a string, and then do assertions on that. So that works. So like the whole flow of this component, it is tested. The only thing that isn't tested is the actual rendering to the terminal. So yeah, anyway, I want to look at static components today. So I call them interactive components and static components. Those are the names I came up with. Interactive components are the versions that actually work the way I show here. And static components, they provide like the same input and output, but you have another way of getting there. It's less user friendly, but at least in theory it should work on platforms that don't support all of this dynamic stuff. Okay, all of that being said, I have let's go to generic console here. So I have this method here, hard-coded for now, that returns true or false, and if it's false, then we won't render any dynamic components. So this is now the static version, right? As you can see, nothing happens, and the idea is that over here I should press enter, and this is still bugged basically. Let me show you how all of that works. So I have too many tabs open. In generic console here, the console class is basically the interface for users to interact with all of these console applications. There's this component method, and this component method, it gets an interactive component, and it will try to render that and like start the whole interactive shell, if I can call it that. It's not the right word, I know. So the first thing that happens here is we check if interactive mode is actually supported. If that's the case, then we can just go ahead and render this interactive component. If that's not the case though, we check whether this interactive component, whether it has a static component, a fallback, so to speak, right? If that's the case, we will render the static component. And if none of these conditions match, then we'll throw an exception, because then, yeah, we don't really have a way to render this. And there's a reason I do this, because we could say that all interactive components should have a static version. But it doesn't always work. Like, for example, well, there's only one example right now. There's the password component here. So let me say interactive passwords. This is gonna fail now, yeah, because I'm not able to render the interactive component. So let's change that to true. Oh, and let's do it like this. So yeah, password here. Whenever I write, you see there are like asterisks being rendered. this could be a text input, but then you would have like the plain password text, and I don't really think that's a good way of handling it. So yeah, I think the best approach here is to say that there is no fallback for a password component, and yeah, that you just can't use it in non-interactive terminals, basically. That's where I'm at right now, but I might change that. We'll see. Good morning. Oh, yeah, I truly don't know how to pronounce your name, but you're a great contributor for Tempest. So thank you, Harris. Good morning, Samuel, and good morning, Rick, as well. Hey, glad you're here. Okay, so I've been setting up these static components off stream, right? So the has static component interface, it has one method, and actually I have already a couple of implementations here. The search component is interesting because there are a couple steps here. So this is the interactive version of the search component. I'm not going to go through it. There's some code involved, right, to have all of this in place. And then there is, let me check, the static search component. So, and it has a render method, gets the console. Let me actually show this interface as well. So render, it gets the console because it has to interact with the console, and it returns anything. In this case, it will return a string, the result, basically. So the steps here, we say we're gonna need an answer, right? And while the answer is, as long as the answer is null, we'll have to, do something. Okay, we're gonna ask for the label here, which is passed into the component. Let me clear this and then search again. So this is the label that's rendered. And then we have the options, the options array, right? Which is, oh yeah, no, I forgot something. So we're gonna ask the user to provide some input, which is the first step, right? And it's basically this. So we haven't pressed enter yet, so we're still on this line here. As soon as we press enter, we have this query variable. This component has a closure passed in that will get the query and return an array of available options. And those options, and from here on out, we'll have to make some changes. Those options will be shown to, yeah, this doesn't work yet. They will be shown to the user here. The user can pick an option, and if he searches, if he chooses search again, we'll just go through the loop again, because you need a way to actually fix your query, right? And otherwise we'll return the answer. But there are a couple of things missing here still. So okay, we have this ask, this second ask statement here, which asks for to select a result, right? And let me actually write something here. Okay, this is what gets rendered now, which really sucks. So please select a result, search again, Paul, Aiden, Roman, right? This isn't like the best approach here. What we want to render is something like this. So search again, Paul, Aiden. Okay, something like this, right? And then the user can just choose 0, 1, 2, instead of having to write the actual, yeah, full value. So this ask method, it does a lot of things, which I think is good because it bundles several components into one method on the console class. So the simplest way of using this method is just by asking a question, which will, let's check here. So if there are no options passed, basically we'll render a text box component. Let me show that. I think it's ask. So basically, hello, hello. Okay, so that's just the text box component. If we pass in options, we'll also check if multiple options are allowed or not. So multiple, so pick several, right? And right now this also doesn't really work very well. So now I have to write A, B, C, and then confirm yes or no. If it's no, I'll have to pick again. And if it's yes, then okay. So over here, I also want to add these brackets. And then finally, there's if no multiple, if you can only choose one option, rather, we'll render the option component. Let me show you that as well. So A, B, or C, right? You can only pick one. One response. The thing is, so for option component, I will need 2 ways of rendering it. And first of all, I'm gonna rename this to single choice component. Multiple choice, single choice. I think that's a clearer name. And then the static component, let's also change that to static single choice component. Okay, but now we need. We basically need 2 ways of rendering this. So the first way is by let me do it like this. First way is rendering this style. So when there are very little options, basically, but if there's a huge list and you have to pick based on a number, that's when we want to have the other rendering style available. So I'm gonna add a boolean here, another boolean. So multiple, we have it's I don't really like adding booleans here, but let's go with it, and then we can see how we can refactor this method. I think that's a good approach. So boolean as list equals false. Let's call it like this. And both the multiple choice and the single choice will actually, I'll have to implement it in both, but I'll first do it with a single choice. So public boolean as lists is false, and then we pass as list here, as list. Let's also add it here and update this. Okay, so let's go to our interactive command here, and then we had option. Let's say let's rename this to single to be in line, and then we say as list is true over here. So whenever we run option, this command here, single, like that. Okay. So now we want to have like a different rendering style. I'm gonna start with the static version, and then I'm gonna refactor the interactive version, but because that's gonna be easier to do. Okay, so as list, we have it over, well, no, static search component, single choice component, then we have the single choice, the static version, right? And this one needs as a list as well. As list is a really sucky name, by the way. If anyone knows of a better name, feel free to suggest one in chat. Okay, so here, this is where we're rendering right now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, okay, so here we can check our ask question here. Okay, so this is the place where we'll have to actually render a different style, and let me see, actually resolve the answer in a different way. Yeah, okay, so we write the question, then we have our options here, and these options will change This part will have to change based on whether we're rendering a list or not. Then we're going to read the answer, and then we have to resolve the answer, and that will depend on asList as well. So I'm just going to write some very ugly code for now, and then we can refactor. So if asList, else we do, let me see, we do all of this, and then we'll have, let's actually move this, move this to here as well. Parsed options, we'll just do a bit of the same, right? So for each, we're going to loop over all our available options as option, but we need the key here as well, right? That's important. If the option is the default, we'll actually want to, do something. Let's skip that for now. Let's first render the options here. We're going to say parsed options equals, we'll say key here, that's important. And then it will have to look something like this, key option, okay? And then we'll write this to the console. I will say implode on PHP end of line options, parsed options rather. Okay. Okay, so a bit more things to do here. To end of lines. But then, yeah, okay, this looks good. Now the default one will still have to key equals if the key is the default one, we'll say underline, we'll say key, otherwise it's just key. Let's see here. There's no default here, so oh no, yeah, the default is the value. So then I have to change that as well. Default must be of type string, of course. It can be mixed here, so well, it's shown here, of course. You can just default can be mixed. And what's then the problem? Default must be of type string, and where is that? That's somewhere else. That's, oh yeah, of course, over here. Mixed, that's in the static component. Okay. Okay, so that's fine for now, I would say. Well, actually, let me change this to bold. Oh no, strong. Strong. I like that more. Okay. I should actually change that to strong as well. Okay, so then we'll read our line, our answer, right? And we'll say that now we have to resolve the proper answer. So if this asList, we'll say answer. What do we want to? We want to make sure that our answer is available in the list. So if this asList and not array key exists. No, first of all, okay, so if the answer is empty and there is a default, we'll return default. Default. This default, of course. Okay, so the default stuff is out of the way now. Yeah. If it's a list, if we're treating it as a list, and if array key exists, option, this options. first need to pass in the key. Then we'll return the answer, right? Or should we return options answer? Else if. Now we'll just do if not this as list. Okay, if it's not a list, let's think about it. Then we want to make sure that the value is in the array, and array has array contains array. No. Array has. What's the PHP array has value in I'm such a in array. Of course, the needle is the answer and the haystack are the options. Then we'll return the answer, and otherwise we'll return null. Yeah, otherwise we'll have to ask the question again. This ask question console. Okay. In array. Okay, let's just see here. So yeah, I choose something that doesn't exist. Now, okay, that's good. I choose nothing. Okay. Type error. Return value must be of type string, but int is returned. Yeah. That's true. I'm actually gonna do. I don't know if you can hear a baby downstairs, but that's my daughter. Okay, I also have this is valid here, but I'm gonna remove that because I'm doing validation now somewhere else. And I don't actually need this loop because I'm doing that within the function, I think. So return ask question, which basically means I can inline. Well, and then we can say this render. So basically we have our loop as recursion now. Okay, so return nothing. Mixed. We return nothing. Okay. Return value must be of type arrow. Yeah, but here's the thing though. Let's actually see here. Do we want to, the default here is the key now. We probably should do something like this. I think that makes more sense. So this is the default. Okay, let's pick A, which is the wrong one. Oh, I know. If let's dump the answer here because it's because of null. I picked because of 0. Yeah. Okay. If answer if it doesn't equal empty. Huh. What's the answer now? Oh no, if it equals empty, of course. Okay, that's the default. That's A. That's C, okay. Something that doesn't exist. Perfect, okay. Okay, that's good. Refactoring we'll do later, right? So now we have two ways of rendering our list. Now we have to do the same for the dynamic component, which is single choice component, which it's gonna be a bit more hassle, actually. But still, it will be good to have this. But this already renders as, this always renders like so, I think. Ask. And it's just a confirm component. Okay, so that's actually fine. I guess within the context of a of an interactive component, it's fine to always have the list because you're, yeah, I think that's fine. It also means I don't have to implement this again in an interactive way, which is nice. Okay, so we have our static single choice component now. We also have to do the same for the multiple choice component, unfortunately. I wonder if static multiple choice component. Well, this actually always renders as a list. I think multiple. Yeah, so this is the interactive version, right? And let's actually switch back to our static version. Pick several options, A, B, C. I actually think we always want like the list version here with the keys instead of. We always want this version basically. So let's static multiple choice. So let's do it like this. There's no default here either, so that makes it simpler. Let's see, Antonio. Antonio is asking, what if the key 5 has a value 2? Are you checking the key first? Ah, yes, I see what you mean. Let's, I'll try to come back to that. But first I want to fix this here. So we'll write our parsed options, and then we'll read the answers, which are comma separated. And then instead of in array, we'll say array key exists. Answer this options. And then we'll say this options answer. I think, okay, pick several. Continue. No. Pick several, okay. 1, 0, and 1. You picked A and B, continue. No, I need to fix that as well. 2 and 1, you picked C and B, continue. Okay, okay, that's good. That's good enough, I would say. Remember that all of this is for Windows users, right? No, that's all fine. Okay, that means so we have our list thing now. Now we can go back to our search, static search component, because we wanted this. So we're asking a question, we're passing it some options, and then we'll say as list is true. So we're now just using one component in another, which is super useful, of course. If the answer is search again, yeah, that will still be the same because we're actually returning the values. We're not returning the keys. Let's see here. So search. Let's clear search. Search for A. Please select a result. So if I select nothing, I'll have to select it again. If I select something that doesn't work, then I actually, how about default 0? Would that be useful? Search again. Oh, yeah, that doesn't work yet. Okay. No, I don't think that will be useful. No, let's not do that. So, okay, with search, we'll say 1, Hello, Paul. Search for Brent now. Hello, Brent. Okay, cool. That's nice. Now search again doesn't work yet. Oh, it does work. It does work. Okay, cool. Okay. So that's nice. Let's refactor this to a variable. Search again. Ugh. Like so. Haha. Antonio is thinking the same as I'm writing this, right? Already constants. Yeah, actually, you're right. Let's refactor this to a constant. Let's do it like this. Constant, like so. Yeah. Good. I think that's good. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, no, we had to. What if the key 5 has the value 2? What if the key 5 has value 2? Are you checking the key first? You're talking about single, like this one here, I think. I'm checking the key first, yeah, then in array. So that should be fine. Yeah. Okay. A couple of things we need to add here as well. But I'm no, it's fine. It's fine. Let's go to our components here. So these are the interactive components. We have confirm, which we have. We have multiple choice, which we have. Passwords, which we don't want to. Progress bar. We can do a progress bar. Search component. Static search component, single choice, static single choice, and text box, static text box. Okay, cool. So progress bar is still left. That's not really a complex one to do, actually. Let's static progress bar component. Like so. We say implements static component, like so. And this should return an array, I think. Let's see here. The progress bar, it gets a couple of the formatted closure is there as well. Okay, so it gets some data and a handler, and then we'll loop over that data, and we'll call a handler on every item, and then we'll render a progress bar. So we'll have to copy all of this. We should probably refactor that at one point. Like so. So that's our format function, basically, which will render the progress bar, and you can override that styling if you want to. Yeah, it's gonna be basically the same, actually, except for this part. Instead of yielding the data here, we'll have to we'll say console write line, like so. And okay, that's basically it, I think. Progress. Let's go to our generic console. Let's switch back to the interactive mode first. So this is what happens in interactive mode, right? And then of course this I forgot to implement has static component here. return new static progress bar data handler, and then format is this format. Yeah, okay, so this is what the non-interactive component looks like. I'll get rid of some new lines here. Yeah, like so. I mean, that's the best we can do, right, in a terminal that can't be switched to non-canonical mode. So, okay, that works. And then we have all components actually, except for the password component, which we don't plan to do anything with. Then we have all of them added here. I'm gonna write tests after the stream, but I will do that. What I also wanted to do next is, oh yeah, generic console here. We need to change this up. So how do I check whether, so we need tput and we need STTI basically. I mean, I can do something like this, but I don't know what the output if it isn't installed basically. Yeah. So how PHP check if tput is installed. I don't know. I need something like this. I do need this. Okay, on Linux. Oh yeah. Do it like this. If, I don't really like these backticks. I think they're equivalent to shell exec. Yeah. Okay, so return shell exec, which tput. Can I do something like this? And which STTI? Yeah. We'll cast that to a Boolean. And maybe that works? Yeah. Well, at least it detects that I'm... that works for me, basically. We still need to do another check here. If this and do we have app config here, console config? No, we don't, but we can inject it. Private app config. App config. Let's say read only. Sure, if this app config environment is CI, or this app config environment is testing, will also return false. Oh yeah. I think there's there are some places where I need to inject it now. Container get app config. Usages. App config container get app. Some more. Let's clone container get app config. Then we have sorry, I had to click here. Over here, this container get app config. And then the last one, these are just some places in the framework, right, where I manually built generic console. It's mainly for testing purposes. Where am I? This container. Oh. This is just a test case. Yeah, then this has to change to, hang on, test case. Test case. This container get app config. Like so. Okay. Still works. Let's run. Ooh, what? Oh. Just discovered a bug. Terminal. Oh. That's weird. I wasn't able to do Control C anymore. I don't know. I know why it happens. Well, no, I don't know why that happens. It's not going to distract me right now. Composer QA. Nice. Although I haven't written any tests for this, so that's still on the to do. But let me actually make an issue here. Control C after Control C in interactive components doesn't work anymore. Labels bug. Okay, so to do testing. Someone is this is our Discord, by the way. You can join if you want to. Oh, and Steve is here now, and we're talking about HTTP responses, but I don't want to get distracted here, so I'm gonna ignore that. If you want to join, just go to tempest.stitcher.io, and there's a link over here. Okay, so yeah, testing is to do, of course it is. And I also, let's check here, wanted to get rid of this component renderer because we actually don't need it anymore. Well, at least we don't need the interface, right? Oh, this one. We don't need this interface. So we'll move this to here. This can all stay the same. We'll remove the interface, interactive component, no, component renderer. And the reason here is that yeah, I had this in place for testing, and the idea was that I would render my static components with a component renderer as well, but it's just the wrong abstraction. It doesn't work. Oh, Steve is here in chat now as well. Hey, Steve. So yeah, we'll get rid of the interface and just always use interactive component renderer if we're in interactive mode. Otherwise, we'll like call that render method on the static components. Yeah, so trying to gather my thoughts here. This one is used in some places now as a fallback for where we don't support component rendering. I'm going back and forth on this. So component renderer. So this should just be interactive component renderer, right? Should it? Well, maybe I should keep the interface, because then we would get, oh, I can't command Z anymore. I don't know why. can I do now? Yeah. Maybe I should keep it, because then if by any chance we would like end up in this, end up using an interactive component while trying to render in a setting that doesn't support them, we would get an exception. I don't know. Let's add a proper exception, at least. Unsupported interactive terminal. Extends exception, and we'll say in the construct here, could not start an interactive terminal. You need STTI and tput installed. So this should probably never happen, this exception, but throw a new unsupported interactive terminal. And oh yeah, we need a component, right? Interactive to render component class. You need STTI and tput installed. Component, and then we can use basically the same exception in our generic console. We're still throwing an exception somewhere. Yeah, here. Throw new unsupported interactive terminal for component. Okay, cool. Let's actually see whether that works, right? If we return false here, and then we do our password thingy. Yeah, and also let's do, where's our exception? Unsupported. Let's extend console exception. So that we can do this. So console write, no, just error this message. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, syntax error somewhere. Where? Is that? Yeah. Huh. I thought that would work. Class name. Yeah, okay. Okay, good, I would say. Yeah, that's nice. Lots of improvements still to be made, but you know, it's a start here. Add static component support. Okay, cool. I actually think we can set up some GitHub actions using Windows as well, so we can actually write some tests for this in some way, I would suppose. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna add tests and then I'm gonna merge this. Cool, cool. Gonna conclude the stream here. Folks, thanks for watching. Thanks for just joining in and watching me babble and write some code here. It's super nice. It's been super cool. Like how many people have been pitching into contributing to Tempest. Yeah, I actually felt like I can't keep up anymore with like reviewing code and discussing things on GitHub, on Discord. So yeah, but that's good. There's some momentum here, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes, right? So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And don't forget to leave a like. I think Antonio said that as well. So thanks, Antonio. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.